Arriving at Sarajevo airport is not so much different compared to arriving at other international airports in Europe. The border police are taking care about security. Zvijezdana Araranković is today's team leader for the passport controls. She has an experience of more than 13 years on the job. Zvijezdana is waiting for travelers coming from Munich in Germany. For her, having international contacts is part of her professional life. She has been serving in several UN peace missions as an international advisor. At Sarajevo's airport arrival area, technical equipment and procedures are meeting European Union standards for many years now. However, Zvijezdana would like to move on even more.
Look, for me, it's always place for improvement. Never mind how developed we are, it's always place for improvement. So, why not?
Border police of Bosnia and Herzegovina did go a long way. Here at the airport, a dog unit is looking for explosives.
Where the dog sits, that's where he finds the spot. There was hidden some small amount of the explosive. That's for his training.
The airport's anti-explosive team is well equipped. They have to take over in the case of unattended luggage is found. The team was trained in the European Union, the equipment donated by Germany with support of the European Union's former police mission.
What we all have achieved is that through 4 heads of missions, through more than 1,700 police officers, through more than 150 civilian experts, and through more than 470 national staff, we have established and conducted a mission that has been a brand name in Bosnia and Herzegovina for 10 years.
Sarajevo's airport police are a success story. 17 years after the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina, the country is politically still divided between Bosniaks, Croats and Serbs. However, here at the entrance to BNH, all nationalities are working together. They are living a multi-ethnic society on the job. Ten years ago, that was not so easy. The destructions of Bosnia and Herzegovina war were still present. Serving in BNH was the first post-war experience for many policemen from the European Union. The basis to end this violent conflict was the Dayton Peace Agreement, BNH complicated constitution with many elements of checks and balances of the 3 constitutional people, Bosniaks, Croats and Serbs. It was the EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs, Javier Solana, that founded the basis of the EU's police mission, EUPM. The mission was designed to follow the UN's police force, however, not with an executive mandate. From now on, BNH political divided elites should take over responsibility.
You cannot continue having 3 systems of custom revenues. That has to be centralized and given back to the different entities to avoid that the money goes to where it should go, to pay professors, to pay teachers, to do hospitals, to do roads, and not to the thugs and criminals.
BNH Customs Service is united nowadays, like the police at Sarajevo airport. 10 years later, there seems to be improvement. Today, tourists are visiting Sarajevo again. The center of BNH capital looks on most places like others in Europe. However, the problem of division of Bosnia and Herzegovina political institutions remains. And this division is also reflected in BNH police. We want to explore where BNH police stands today, or better, the 15 different police structures in this country that is one of the poorest in Europe. Turška Jurišić is editor-in-chief of the political weekly BH Dani, a home of critical journalism in Bosnia and Herzegovina. She explains why the complicated structure of BNH, with the Bosnian-Croat-dominated Federation of BNH and the Serb-dominated Republika Srpska, is hindering police work.
The practical problem is a lack of coordination amongst different police forces. So many years after the war, it still can easily happen that a criminal runs away from one canton to the other, and there is no coordination amongst police. Coordination is just based on friendly relations of commanders of different police stations.
There is a certain responsibility on the locals, particularly politicians. There's always difficulties here because of the accommodation of the three ethnicities in any organisation, and particularly within the police. If you had whatever ethnicities, you had to reflect that in the different ranks, rather than necessarily relying on the competencies that might be suitable for that particular position.
Unfortunately, on the state level, I don't see much change, because the police reform as originally envisaged never took place. So we still have, I think, 16 police or law enforcement agencies operating within the country, very often with overlapping responsibilities and chain of command, and I think it affects the security situation in Bosnia in no small measure.
The politicians are effective while they maintain the necessary political oversight, that they don't politicise the actual police and become involved in operational decisions from the police, because then the public do not trust police, and because they see it as an organ of the state which respective governments will use for their own aims.
The problem of the police in BiH is that politics is again trying to take over control of police. International organizations, including EUPM, have invested a lot of efforts so that Bosnia and Herzegovina get rule of law that should secure the political independence of police work. But we are witnessing for more than a year now that intensive activities are going on to get police under political control again.
If I express, like others in the international community, my concern about politicization of police, then it has to do with that, like others, I'm also concerned about that political development right now is antagonistic and does not offer, or does not seem at this moment in time to offer solutions that also give guidance to police how to develop.
One of the things that I was trying to do, and I didn't achieve till I left very much, was actually to separate the budget of police from the budget of the Ministry of Interior. Inside the Ministry of Interior, we should have had the budget of police managed by the Chief of Police, because whoever controls the budget, he also controls the operational capabilities. This was in terms of accountability to avoid the control of politics. But we didn't achieve this very much. Why? Once again, because this is strictly related to the constitutional structure of the country.
Well, I don't know if it's just the EUPM's failure. Definitely we don't have police structure structured in a most professional way, the most logical way when it comes to the structure of police forces in one country. But I don't think it's fair to blame it solely on EUPM, because in many instances the EUPM was a hostage of political processes that were going on in Brussels, where there was no unified front on Bosnia policy whatsoever, and it also was reflected in the way the EUPM operated in the country.
We get to Brčko district, a self-governed sector according to this constitution, the Dayton Peace Agreement. Brčko has the role of a geographic wall between two parts of the Serb-dominated Republika Srpska. Today, police is conducting several raids against a ring of drug smugglers. The police here in Brčko are integrated and multi-ethnic. For many observers, an example of how it should be in all of Bosnia and Herzegovina. All sections of Brčko's police are working together. The special unit, regular traffic police or the anti-crime department are working under one roof. However, these policemen are covering not more than 493 square kilometers with 80,000 inhabitants. During the last 5 years, we were able to raise our standards, reduce the level of criminality, and also we are offering our service to the citizens. From the moment of a phone call, we are able to react in a short period of time. Usually, in between 10 and 15 minutes, we are able to be on the spot if there's an incident. 10 minutes in downtown, 15 minutes in the outskirts. The longest duration is 20 minutes. In the forensics department, Vesmir Vuletin is working on the findings of today's police raid. 11 suspects were caught. It's a lot of work for only 2 persons in this department. In the police of Brčko district, I am the only one who is doing this job. And what happens when you're ill? Nothing. The cases are waiting till I feel better again. What we need is more staff. We need more police officers in our department and more training. Nothing else. This is not so different from what Brčko citizens are thinking about their police. 10 years ago it was really bad. Now the situation is better, but there should be even more improvements, especially regarding actions like this today, finding the drugs in order to protect citizens. However, I also think, related to their work and professionalism, that they are not paid well. They should get more money. I can't complain about our police. There is no need. The problem is those politicians that are not giving anything to the people. People are suffering. There are many poor people. Concerning the police, I can say only the best. But they don't have an easy job. To conduct their raid, Brčko's police had to contact at least 3 other police structures in the country. Neighboring Tuzla canton, through the central police structure of the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the police of the Serb-dominated entity, Republika Srpska. Police forces of Bosnia and Herzegovina have done quite some moves to become EU-ready one day. The anti-terror group of the Common State-Level Police, SIPA, has been formed after strong pressure from the international partners of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Today, the State Investigation and Protection Agency is a highly professional integrated police structure for the whole of Bosnia and Herzegovina. The 850 SIPA employees have strong rescue capacities, are trained and equipped to fight organized crime in all of Bosnia, with offices in Sarajevo, Tuzla, Banja Luka and Mostar. We move on, in the direction of Banja Luka, the seat of Republika Srpska's entity government. In the second largest city of Bosnia and Herzegovina, the police building is flagged only with the flag of the Republika Srpska. Here we find again another police structure of Bosnia and Herzegovina. However, Radiša Radivoj is the chief of forensics here, and for him working together with other police structures is highly important. This fingerprint system is common in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The database of all persons who are processed on the territory of BNH can be reached through this system. We are checking identities of handled cases and persons, and also if they are known in any other European countries. To meet European standards is what they want here in Banja Luka. That is also saying Commander Miles Šikman of the Police Academy. The anti-riot squad is in a training routine. This policeman has all the Bosnia and Herzegovina emergency number on his back. However, we have to learn that every entity in BNH has its own police academy and not one common university for police training that might be more effective. We are not teaching that kind of lessons in the classroom. For us, it is important to have practical training with the shields, helmets and other protections like police stick, and we are doing this exactly the way like it would be on the field. We have seen 4 different police structures until now, but there are still 12 more in a country that has a population of probably around 3.2 million. 5 years ago, the European Police Mission tried to broker a fundamental reform of Bosnia's police. A year later, there was only a minimal reform possible.
The mission is not intended to solve a political problem. The mission inside the political issue has to find the technical solution. Now, that was a police mission, could have been a judicial mission or a custom mission or a military mission, doesn't matter, or a technical mission or a financial mission. The problem is the European Union, in case of a country moving to accession or any other institution, is the political institution able to manage these things? And the answer is not always.
So we started with assisting in making the cooperation more systematic, and we had initial successes on an operational level. We do still observe that there is a need to continue, and I make reference to the European Commission Progress Report as of late 2011, where the need for institutionalized cooperation is clearly spelled out as a requirement for Bosnia and Herzegovina coming closer to the European Union.
In a country where heroin or a joint can be bought for 10 marks, police must do a better job. In this moment, it is really depending on politics. Police in this country is not just decentralized, it is totally fractioned and completely disoriented. So there is no basis for having better achievements in fighting of organized crime and corruption.
We continue our journey, leaving Banja Luka. For 10 years, the EU police mission has brought hundreds of police officers from all over Europe to Bosnia and Herzegovina. Many of them we are talking to are remembering this Central Western Balkan country as the most beautiful of the region. An experience that helped also to overcome obstacles they had to face relating to the political mandates of the first EU's common foreign security mission. That was sometimes not so easy for highly professionalized European policemen.
And I always question myself how to change this mentality, but it seems impossible to be done. We always plan in the short term, very much for political reasons, not for technical reasons.
What are the reasons?
But the reason is that nobody wants to engage in a country for a long period of time, because we want to give the impression to everybody that even if the situation is very difficult, we will stay a few months and then we will leave. So don't be concerned.
We had been here for a number of years at that stage, when I say we, the civilian police mission, with a non-executive mandate, trying to develop the police in a civilianized way and to remove all relics, basically, of military from the police. And then EU4 came to replace the NATO forces that were there with an executive mandate, and an executive mandate to assist in the fight against organised crime. Not any closely more defined than that, just to assist in the fight against organised crime. I think they felt, politically, they felt there had to be a success at that time because it was new, they were after taking over from NATO, and they felt that they needed to be very visible, they needed to be a success. Europe needed, the politicians needed this to be a success. And they interpreted to assist the fight against organised crime in the very widest possible terms, you know, and this was not beneficial to the police.
Combating organized crime in your own country is a long process. In a normal investigation against organized crime, big organized crime organizations, takes 2-3 years. In your own country, where you know everything about organized crime, you know perfectly the law, you know perfect the structures, you have everything you need in Europe.
I like the Balkans. I do truly believe the Balkans belong to Europe and to the European Union. A simplification of a discussion that would reduce the Balkans to that they are a hotbed or a transition area for organized crime would be wrong.
We are in Mostar in the south of the country. It's the city the European Union has administered for a while in the 1990s. It was the EU's challenge to bring peace to a highly divided city between Croats and Bosniaks. Some observers say the EU has failed here, pointing out that the two fractions have not been brought together mainly politically. However, while walking through the city, we get the impression of more or less calm tourist spot that is attracting visitors driving here in less than 2 hours from the Adriatic coast of neighboring Croatia. Do they feel safe here now?
Apparemment oui, mais je sais pas vraiment.
For the moment, yes. However, I don't know really. We haven't been here before, it's the first time. Many people here, many shops. We still want to have a walk through the old town.
Mais on est allé aussi faire un tour dans la ville ancienne.
Safe. Ah, peace.
Yeah.
Ah.
I'm safe till now, not a problem. I'm from Romania. A couple of days ago we were in Pristina, me and my father. And right now we are here and we like very much the place and I don't know, everything is cool, not a problem for us.
I'm from here and left a long time ago. And one can really see the difference during the last years. It was going very slowly at the beginning, but today it is really good.
On va dire, il faisait un petit peu n'importe quoi, mais là, c'est top.
We are driving down the Neretva river towards the Croatian border. Here at the Adriatic, Bosnia and Herzegovina has a little spot on the coastline. This little part of Bosnia and Herzegovina, the BNH town of Neum, at the Mediterranean Sea, is not longer than 9 kilometers, dividing the Croatian coast. North of here is Croatia, south as well. But when Croatia is going to enter the European Union 2013, these 9 kilometers will be of major interest to the EU. Adem Salcin is deputy chief of Neum's border police. He's a Bosniak working together with his Bosnian-Croat border police colleagues. Morning meeting. All of them are aware of the fact that they will have to work very soon just outside of an EU border. They are checking the best boat they have. It's a donation from the international community. However, they can't use it this season because there are no funds for the yearly maintenance service. Frustrations. However, their smaller vessel is operational. Thanks to God, we have this recently installed pontoon. They take us out on the sea. We can train new police officers, but as a matter of fact, there were no new young officers coming here the last 2 years. That's not our fault. The system in the state is wrong. They are saying that there is no money. I can't go deeper in that. Where is the money? How much do they have? How they are spending it? But I would like to have some continuation. Constructions are going on to build a new EU Bosnia and Herzegovina border digged in the stones of the Adriatic coastline. And some of these border police officers are asking themselves whether the European Union really takes their promise for real that Bosnia and Herzegovina will also become part of the bloc. We are leaving Neum with mixed feelings, driving back to Sarajevo airport. Nowadays, we as BNH citizens are free to travel wherever we want in the European Union. The EU has granted our country visa-free travel with a lot of help from the European Union police mission. Technical standards had to be implemented.
When Bosnia and Herzegovina entered visa-free regime, the country had to fulfill many technical criteria. Safety of the borders, safety of the travel documents, fight against corruption, organized crime, protection of minorities. There were more than 100 technical criteria.
The European Union's police mission is leaving Bosnia and Herzegovina. We are bidding farewell to our European partners. And we end our journey through our country where it started, at the airport.
There is certain responsibility in the present young generation, and we have to take care that we don't lose this generation. We have to preserve the jobs, the security, the perspective for these young people, which today, unfortunately, don't trust politicians and institutions in the country anymore. So we have to be very careful. It is a long-running process, but knowing that at the end of the process there can be a better common future for the whole region as such, and the region towards the European Union, I think it's our strength.
Talking about our strength, we have seen that Bosnia and Herzegovina's police has developed over the last 10 years. We hope that the journey of our police towards professionalism and European standards doesn't end here.